Good evening. Welcome to Today interview with Bilgute Tumundimbril. I'm sure you guys are having a pleasant evening. At the same time, I have two wonderfully talented young ladies here in our studio. Let me introduce Secretary General, Ms. Khaliunaa Naranbayar, and the former coordinator, Ms. Uchral Ganbaatar, at the United Nations Youth Advisory Panel. The third Annual Model UNESCO Conference will be held on 18th of November this year in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening. Good evening.
So thank you for receiving our invitation. And let's start talking about the United Nations Youth Advisory Panel and its operations. What is the ultimate goal of this organization?
Okay, good evening, and thank you for inviting us to the amazing talk. I'm Uchral, a former coordinator of UNYAP. So about UNYAP, it has established in 2006 at the UNFVA Mongolia and expanded as the United Nations Youth Advisory Panel in 2008. So we have working for the UN for almost 10 years, and as long as the majority of the Mongolian population is youth, our role is to represent Mongolian youth and deliver their voices to the UN to make the UN's projects and programs for youth successful.
Even closer, the programs need to be closer to the youth and their casual everyday life.
Exactly.
So you mentioned that the organization was founded in 2006?
Yes.
2006, so it's 11 years now.
Yeah, almost. So for almost 10 years, we have been representing Mongolian youth to not only to the UN, to the government of Mongolia and international countries as well.
And what kind of projects and what kind of work do you guys do? What's the operation?
Actually, our main role is not to implement implement projects and programs. The main role is to advise the UN as youth part. But in order to advise professionally, we need to try and experience things. So we hold events and implement projects.
And you guys must do lots of studies based on the youth in Mongolia? When I say studies, like experimental projects or that kind of stuff, you guys need to gather lots of information about how Mongolian youths are living.
Well, United Nations Youth Advisory Panel consists of 15 members who are representatives from different organizations, youth-related organizations.
50?
So yes, 15.
No,
15.
15.
Okay.
So at the same time, they bring diverse information from the community they are representing. So as a whole, we make the United Nations Youth Advisory Panel able to advise to the UN.
Based on our experiences.
Right. And how do you members get chosen? How, and how do you guys elect the positions, or how does it work?
It's a nice question, and it's also a long process. So we select our new members once in a year, who is aged between 15 to 24, and also a youth who is able to represent a specific community, specific NGO, or specific organization. So, and also, as Khaliunaa mentioned, it's a long process. Like, we need to send the application first, and we need to have the case challenge for the second round, and for the last round, we need to have the interview with the UNYAP selection committee and the UN Youth Working Group members, and
lots of stages.
And very challenging as well.
So you guys must be very qualified because you came through these steps and you've been here.
Thank you.
So my next question is, well, of course, our main topic. You guys are organizing the Model UNESCO Conference. It's the third time in Mongolia, right?
Yeah.
And tell us about this conference.
Well, this year we are organizing the Model UNESCO Conference for the third year in collaboration with UNESCO Beijing office and as well as Mongolian National Commission for UNESCO. And what's special about this conference is that it's the first simulation UNESCO General Conference organized not just in Mongolia but also worldwide. And our delegates come from diverse backgrounds, aged 16 to 24. And this year we have received a diverse pool of delegates, applications of 700, which is twice the application we have received last year.
Last year, right.
Yes,
twice, right.
And because we are expanding our scope of conference, for the last 2 years we just had, brought young people, around 100 young people, and the conference was only for in one area. But this year we are organizing our conference in 3 committees: UNESCO Education, Social and Human Sciences, and as well as Culture committees. So that's why we have received many more applications than the last year. And there will be the conference will be held in English and as well as Mongolian. And we also have international participants participating in our conference at the national level.
So how about adults from UN? Will they be the part of the conference? Will there be any delegates from the Beijing UN Beijing office or Mongolian UN office? How do they contribute to these conferences?
Well, this year the selected best delegates will be able to participate, will be awarded to participate at international level youth conferences. So since the conference is running in a very high level, there are judges from UNESCO, Mongolian National Commission for UNESCO, and as well as professors from universities. And that's the integration that we are having at the moment.
Right, right. And can you tell our audience again, where will it be held? And can anyone to look and to go there as an audience?
Well, the conference will be held at Holiday Inn Conference Center, and the whole conference process will be recorded
broadcasted?
Yes, broadcasted and
will
recorded
it be live?
Live at our Facebook page. So if anyone is interested in how the biggest one of the biggest international conferences at national level is organized, then everyone is welcome to check out our pages.
Right. Let's just say that after the conference you guys have resolutions. These will be, of course, the model, because it's model conference, the resolutions and decisions and ideas that come from the youth will be model resolutions and decisions. And how about the outcome, and what's the possibility that these ideas and resolutions really to come to a reality in the real world?
Well, at the end of the whole day of negotiation and talking and coming to consensus on the 3 topics, what will happen is that all delegates will come together to pass a resolution paper. And if the resolution paper is passed, then the resolution paper will be presented, will be forwarded to UNESCO Beijing office and as well as UN House in Mongolia. And on the resolution paper, all the ideas and all the suggestions and possible ideas are presented on the resolution paper. And so the UNESCO Beijing office and as well as UN House in Mongolia can see, oh, this is what youth in Mongolia is thinking. So in a way, it's making young people's voice heard at decision-making level.
Decision-making level.
Yeah.
But has there been any history that these kind of voices and these kind of ideas come to real life in your experience, in the UNYAP experience?
So there are a lot of experiences, like as a part of Mongolian youth, we also represent Mongolian youth to some countries to deliver their voices among our peers and other policymakers. And In August 27, in August 17, our 4 members went to Beijing, China, to represent Mongolian youth to the UNESCO Beijing office. And Khaliunaa actually is one of the participants, and she could tell more about her participation and the main purpose of the event.
So what was it like?
Well,
this year, right?
This
year, this August.
So young people from Mongolia were specifically invited to attend East Asian Youth Consultation in Beijing, organized by UNESCO Beijing office. So it was the focus was specifically on East Asia, and it wasn't just general conference. What was the idea behind the conference was that we teamed up and we came up with possible actual ideas with possible funding from UNESCO Beijing office on the pressing issues that the youth is facing, and then we are still on the plan of finalizing our ideas, which can be implemented in real life.
Wow, right. And you guys are funded?
Well, if our yes.
But you have to compete with others, or
for the conference, it's fully funded. Everything is fully funded, and because most of us are very actively engaged in youth-related activities, and they want our voice to be heard in actual policies and decision-making levels.
Right, right. And well, I have one question about Slack. Well, it was a new word for me because Slack is a online platform, a workspace, online workspace, and it will be used during the model conference, right? And can you tell us about the Slack a little bit more, and to our audience?
Yeah, you go.
Well, Slack is, as you have mentioned, it's an online platform, and this year what's also very specific about our conference is that we are aiming to make our conference eco-friendly. As you know, like many conferences require lots of papers and it's very, not eco at all, right? And Slack is an online tool for team communication and collaboration. So it brings many people under one place, and then they can discuss and do their work together online. And this year we have adopted Slack as our main communication platform.
So we have talked Model UNESCO Mongolia 2017. What is the real outcome of this conference? How will the Mongolian youth benefit from it?
As Khaliunaa mentioned, after the conference, we passed the resolution paper to the main sponsor and one of the main organizers, the UNESCO Beijing office. And actually from 2015, we have been passing the resolution papers, and they, found it very useful, and also use the resolution papers as kind of advisory factor, and that's why they also agreed to organize MUM 2017 this year, and funding us and supporting us very well.
All right. And I mean, how will the participants benefit during the conference? Like, will they learn new stuff? And what kind of benefits do these participants and applicants will have?
Yeah, first of all, they would get to know about UNYAP and the other UN agencies such as UNESCO, and they are learning more about the public diplomacy and youth engagement and its importance, and as well as global issues such as education and not climate, just other global issues. They are being aware of the things and
in addition to what Uchral has mentioned, one of the what participants get from this conference is the long-lasting friendship, because even though it's a day, the conference preparation starts from like 3 weeks ago. Just yesterday we had our Model UNESCO pre-conference workshop at UN House. And also, it's also the increasing young people's soft skills, such as communication, negotiation skills, and increasing their public diplomacy skills. That's also very main part of of our conference. And at the end of the day, the best delegates, as I have mentioned before, gets chosen to represent Mongolia and participate internationally.
Is the application process open to anyone?
Yes, open to anyone.
Open to the public?
Yeah.
What are the requirements, I wonder?
So age goes first.
Okay. That means I cannot do it.
So we're always sorry to say that, but 15 to 25 is the youth as United Nations defined. So yeah, age, and also they should have some background about the public diplomacy, and or they should be experienced pretty well in their field of studies and the things, and also
how active they are in society.
Yeah, and some soft skills required, like communication skills and
English language skills.
For research purpose, English is is required.
Is it required?
Yeah.
Right. Good. Well, we have talked about MUM, and I want to ask you some personal questions. You guys are for sure very inspirational young ladies. What is your driving force to do all these kind of works at the same time? I know you guys just not only work at the UNYAP, but also different companies, and you guys do freelancing, and what's your driving force?
I have been learning from my peers and other inspiring people to be a better person, and in the near future I aim to be an innovator and an entrepreneur who can make changes happen in the world, not only in Mongolia. And this big goal motivates me, encourages me all the way to do more and to be a hustler, and also requires me to be a role model for my peers, and also it's
well, got it.
Yeah.
So that is a very beautiful goal. And how about Khaliunaa?
Well, it's very simple for me. I just strongly believe that young people are the main agents for change and development. Especially Mongolia is a very young country with almost 70% of the population under the age of 30.
Yes,
and that's why what I do, I get inspired from people around me, and I also hope to inspire others to be agents for change.
Well, very nice answers. And thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have only 20 minutes, and the director is saying, well, cut it. So thank you, and I wish you good health and good luck with the organizing the model conference in Mongolia. And we will see you afterwards, and we will see you next time. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
And that's all for today. Thank you for being with us. You're watching Today interview. We'll see you on next Tuesday with more news and updates. Have a good one. Bye-bye.